There's something quite beautiful about looking at a black and white image, and although they can seem simple enough to capture, there are a few crucial tips that you can follow to really take your photography up a notch. So if you are just starting out or you want to refine a few skills, stay tuned for our top tips. Now this one might take a bit of time to perfect, but it is probably the top tip when it comes to shooting black and whites. Try and see things in black and white. Really look out and focus in on lines, shapes, and most importantly, shadows. Some of the best black and white images out there contain some really strong tonal contrast. And this is something you really want to look out for. By increasing that contrast between really strong blacks and strong whites, it can create a lot more interest in your shot. Long exposure shots work really well when it comes to black and white photos, and especially when you've got the magic ingredient of moving water or clouds. Now this is because when you're shooting those long exposures, the water or the clouds have a wider area for you to be able to capture those highlights, and this will add to that really good tonal contrast that we're after. This one follows on quite nicely from the previous tip, so to ensure that you're not overexposing your shots, crack out those neutral density filters. Now a neutral density filter is a dark piece of glass. It will either be graduated, depending on what filter you go for, or just a standard one. These will block out any unwanted light from entering your lens, which allows you to use those longer shutter speeds without the risk of overexposing your shots. Now, if it is creativity that you want and you naturally want to boost the contrast of your shots and reduce unwanted reflections, then that's when a circular polarizer will come in handy. These really come into their own when it comes to black and white. And if you want to get even more creative, that's where coloured filters come into play. Now, coloured filters were designed purely with black and white photography in mind, and they work by either brightening or darkening the colour opposite to it in the colour wheel. So for example, if I was shooting a landscape in black and white and I had a green filter on my lens, the greens would appear as a much lighter tone or shade of grey or white than they normally would. And if I had a red filter shooting the same scene, my greens would become a lot of a darker mid-tone or black than it would normally be. These are great if you want to do very little work in post-production. If your camera's got HDR mode, turn it on and go and take some photos. You'll be absolutely amazed at the difference just that one simple thing can do. If you want to get the same effect but don't have that option, use bracketing. So bracketing will usually take 3 photos, one that's underexposed, one that's correctly exposed, and one that's overexposed. This gives you a whole lot more of information in detail that you wouldn't normally capture in one image. It then, when you combine them all, gives you a truly dynamic and beautiful looking black and white photo. Here's a cheeky little tip for those of you that are going to be tweaking your images in post-production. Dodge and burn, those 2 little words and that one amazing tool in Photoshop can really change your photography. Now this isn't anything new because it is the process that's done in a darkroom when it comes to either lightening up or darkening down bits of your photo as it develops. But for a digital age, Photoshop, you are my hero. Dodging and burning will allow you to really precisely and specifically choose bits of your images you either want to lighten or darken to get the effect that you want. I hope those tips have been useful, and if you've enjoyed this video, then don't forget to hit like, subscribe and smash that bell icon so you can stay up to date on all of our latest releases. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.